Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another lovely season of The Amazing Race, being covered by us, The Cup, the Currently Unnamed Podcast, where you put the real and the tea in reality, and you can always come to us first to quench your reality TV thirst. My name is Jack. I am one half of multiple proposed Amazing Race teams for this podcast, and I think that list is only going to keep growing as we go on through this. And I'm mainly here for the queers.
Well, hello everybody. This is Jonathan with a resting gym face and a hint of Texas taste. And today we're going to be talking about Amazing Race's first episode with all Big Brother cast. And I am drinking iced coffee today.
Hey y'all, I'm Michael. I am your buff bodybuilding correspondent down in Dallas, Texas as well. And I put the him in himbo, and I put the gay in video game. And I'm so excited to talk about this first episode of Amazing Race Big Brother. Is it more Amazing Race or is it more Big Brother? We'll get into it. And I am drinking just water because I'm very hydrated. This looks like an exhausting race for some of them. And we'll get into it.
Oh my God, was it an exhausting race? Potentially one of the longest first legs we have seen in the history of this show, based on like some notes that both the cast has put out and just like some very subtle things. But before we get into all of that, I do have just a couple things to go over. So first, if you enjoy Amazing Race, maybe Big Brother UK or The Traitors, either US or UK, because at this point they're just going to keep coming out at a rapid speed. If you enjoy any sort of competitive reality TV, you can always give us a subscription down below or a follow on whatever platform you are listening to this on. In addition, if you feel so inclined, you can buy a lovely cup mug at lanagcreations.etsy.com. Once again, that is lanagcreations.etsy.com. It is the perfect companion for all of your reality TV listening needs. And if you enjoy any sort of drag content, Dragula's starting up. I am not on the drag side, but they certainly are, so they know a lot more about it than me. You can see them and our lovely other correspondents over there, as well as our WWE and our ESC channels. All of those are in the link tree in the description below. But with all that said, and just a little check of our socials right down below, I say we get into this very, very interesting first episode where, it feels like you need a primer on like the past 3 seasons of Big Brother to even slightly understand this season. It's wild.
There was required reading coming into this season of Amazing Race. And we got some helpful clips, though. I was actually surprised we got actual footage from Big Brother to supplement all the confessionals.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully we do get explanations of like, oh yeah, so we casted like all the past 3 winners and then like 2 couples and also people who hate each other and people who've gone after each other. And then Enzo and Natalie and Kat, I guess. Like, this is a very weird cast because there's obvious disconnects where, like, they tried to get more people on to fill those holes, and then they were like, no, this is not working. Just call up half the cast from the past 3 seasons. It's fine.
I mean, I'm here for it because there's some pretty good cast, but also, as we talked about in the cast assessment, and we'll get into in the events. I mean, this really does feel like it's kind of thumbing the scale for a particular team that may include Kyland and Taylor.
Well, I, for one, am glad that they casted recent Big Brother castmates because unlike the 2 of you, I'm not a huge Big Brother fan. I've seen bits and pieces in some seasons with Michael, but it's been more so the past few seasons. So at least them casting recent housemates, at least I know who they are.
That's fair. Also, the fact that we've like casted from Big Brother before multiple times, so we've already gotten like Rachel and Brittany and like Alyssa. Like we've already hit a lot of highlights, and the only people left were like, "Oh, we could cast Mike Boogie." Nope, actually, never mind. That is now a crime.
He doesn't exist. He doesn't exist in our world anymore.
It's like we've gone past the point where it's like, yeah, I mean, did you try with Dan at least a little bit? No? Yeah, that makes sense, I guess. But I mean, we still got a pretty good cast out of it, all things considered.
It was an entertaining first episode regardless, yes.
Yes, so speaking of really quick, we are going to run through the structure of this episode because honestly, it's not much, followed by most of these teams either really like each other or really hate each other, and that's where the actual fun is. So first we drop the teams off. We don't even start them at starting line just yet. We instead release them at a random railway station and tell them, get to an ice rink. We're bowling.
That was wild. I was wondering how this like twist of like the starting line task was going to play out. It was definitely really interesting format because we did get some intros while we were doing this first task. We're so used to like having the starting line and just having people come in like one by one. But we start off with a bang.
Yeah, I mean, we run right from Horn railway station to Ispan de Westfries, which is a lovely little ice rink. And once inside, teams are told, you are going to be bowling with one of your teammates on a sled and the other pushing them into a set of 10 bowling pins. You must hit a strike. The first team to successfully nail a strike wins an express pass, and the last team to nail a strike will, for the first time in 14 years, receive a hazard, meaning they must complete some additional task on this leg of the race in order to continue on.
Yeah, I think one thing that we decided we wanted to do this season is we are Team Camo, and so we would like to discuss who would do what.
As if we were on the race ourselves.
So we are racing with these Big Brother people.
And you literally read my mind because I was going to ask that anyway. Which one of you would be the bowling ball and which one of you would be the bowler?
I think you should be the bowling ball.
That is what we decided.
Yeah.
He's actually a lot more sporty than I am, so that would make a lot more sense.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I wonder like what the actual rules of the actual like head bowling thing is, because I can't imagine they can turn sideways and use the side of the sled or their body to like knock over the thing.
But it has happened. In that episode.
Well, I think they'll allow it for the contestants, but I'm wondering, like, is this actually like how they play it for the sport, or are they just being nice to our players here?
Or is it even a sport, or is it just for this challenge?
I don't know if it's actually a sport or not. Seeing how, at least in like the intro for this challenge, we did actually see the demo team kind of like turn sideways to knock the pins.
That's true.
I think that was actually their intent with like the person on the sled attempting to aim it. But we didn't see a lot of teams actually successfully do that.
Yeah, I think they started out trying to use their head, but then like instantly, as soon as they saw one person kind of shift their weight and like sideways go through it, then everybody was shifting their weight and going sideways through it.
Yeah, I mean, at least on my end, I'd prefer to be the bowling ball because I don't feel like I could get all that force. And I feel like I'd probably be better at attempting to shift my weight. But at the same time, this feels like a challenge where it's very much like, what can you do?
I also say, like, we've been ice skating before, and like just standing on ice, I think I should be the one to run on ice.
Well, he's been ice skating multiple times before, and I'm usually grabbing hold on the sides.
So
I'm right there with you. I've tried it. I maybe got it for a little bit, and then I'd fall on my ass. So, I'd get like halfway between, I think, where y'all both are.
I was getting scared for them when they would like run back at their, I mean, of course, it's $1 million on the line, but they're like running back at full force with like a sled in tow. And I'm like, if you trip, oh my gosh, you're medevaced out. Like, that's game.
Yeah.
I was really worried. It got me on the edge of my seat a couple times. I was like,
I do think they had like some sort of ice shoe on at the very least in order to control some sort of friction, like one of those clip-on things, but I'm not 100% sure. So from there, we head from the ice rink over to Grottekirk, which is essentially just a town square, in order to start the race. Just like, we're full stopping really quick. This was fun and all, but like, we're going to stop. We're going to breathe for a little bit. Express pass people, here's another express pass for you to hand out and make this messy or off the jump. Hazard people, and we're off immediately again. This is the official start of the race.
are we going to talk about, or we're going to wait until later for the
Who won what?
We'll wait like 5 minutes to talk about that, because it is actually interesting the strategy that they used in between.
Well, how do y'all feel about this episode starting this way, to where it wasn't even at the starting line where they started? Do y'all think they should continue doing that?
I mean, it was interesting. I think it works when you know the players more. If I don't know who it is, if they're doing a task, I'm like, who is this? Why should I care? Like, I need to know you a little bit first. It works when like there's like known quantities, or like, celebrity bringbacks, or like Big Brother players, people who've been on other TV shows that, most of the audience is going to know who these people are.
Yeah, honestly, right there with you. This kind of like weirdly halted the episode in the middle to be like, okay, now introduce yourselves, even though you've kind of like already known each other probably for a bit at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, at least pacing wise, this is also just a full equalizer of, okay, no matter how you did, we now just have a penalty, 2 express passes, go. Which, good for them.
Right, yeah. It is a way to quickly start some potential drama.
And I'm wondering why. I mean, I guess I could understand why they want to pick Jess and Jag, but also, as we see later in the episode, do they really need the help that they have? Because it's not like Big Brother, where the person who's like going to win a lot of competitions can like save you. That's not really a thing in Amazing Race. The only thing that maybe I could see is like, oh, I'm not going to U-turn. Like Jess and Jag are like, we're not going to U-turn Taylor and Kylan. And even then, they might still, depending on where in the race it is. So
I have a feeling that a social game might be a little bit more impactful this season, in terms of just like, we already saw a bunch of twists last season. So like, we know that at least a couple are coming back for this one, including one that was not well received in the slightest. But I think they filmed this before they knew how the public would react to it. So we'll honestly see how much that social game plays into it. But it is a little bit interesting to give it to potentially the biggest competition of like, yeah, here's a pass to like make sure you never are in danger, at least for a good while, which, sure, I'll support their strategic decisions, because I love Taylor, but bad ideas.
I think there might be other people that I don't know. There's plenty of other. I get what they're saying. Let's get outside of our like group that we've already known and pre-gamed. Oh, I said the word a little bit, but yeah, we'll see how it plays out. Jess and Jug, I think, are the least likely to need any help, as we'll see. So,
yeah. So from here, teams drive themselves to the port of Volendam. Here, all of them are getting on a tandem bike in order to get to the next get to the Edam cheese market. Well, almost everyone, as this is where the hazard for the last place team hits with our lovely little, just down a soused herring really quick and then get in a weird clog bike thing that was 100% used for tourists.
Oh, 100%. This was a leg that definitely started to break the group out. There's always the part of the race where you start to see like the groups kind of just start to spread apart. I'm guessing this was a little hard to get to, or like this was their first taste of like having to use a map to get around. I'm unsure why there was like such a big disparity of teams getting to the bikes, because some of them had real trouble finding. Some of them getting their bearings a little bit because they're missing the post. An Amazing Race. A couple of them like did it like on each leg. They're like, oh my gosh, the post is right there. So eyes open, guys. Like we're actually racing now.
Well, the adrenaline is also kicking in, so I can understand why sometimes you can miss what's right in front of you, because I know I'd be that way.
But like the name of the game, I agree. Like, but the name of the game is like there's a lot of detail-oriented stuff on Amazing Race.
Which is why I'm glad that if we were to ever race, you're there right next to me, because I will be like Cat in this episode. That would be who I am.
I'm honestly right there with you. I can solve any sort of crazy puzzle, but I literally know I cannot see something 2 feet in front of me. Just because I'll overlook it. It's been a problem throughout my entire life. So I do not blame you in the slightest. So at the Edam Cheese Market, teams have to get into traditional cheesemonger gear, carry essentially a 2-person sled boat kind of thing to a essentially park with 4 cheese boats in it, then stack up cheese in a pyramid shape, and then bring them all the way back to the vendor without it all falling off, and then talk to the big cheese, get it approved, and get their next clue. These kind of like, we didn't really want to do a detour or roadblock, so we just have this challenge for you to do is honestly getting more and more common on the Amazing Race. And this was at least a fun one to start the team out on, because God, does some of their communication suck.
Mm-hmm. This was a simple task. I'm actually surprised, though. I thought we would have more teams like get a fair bit into the walk back and then the pyramid would fall. But I mean, it might have happened and we just weren't shown it. But this was like tipping the toe in the water, just kind of getting them ready to some of these tasks are insane, and I'm sure we'll see them this season.
Yeah. God, some of these. Oh, we've already seen stuff.
This task at all.
One more time.
You sound like you're not quite a big fan of this task.
I know for a fact that I would be messing up that stack consistently. Like I would not have found the pattern in order to make sure they all stuck in the right place, and then also the slipperiness of it, and then also the intense shoulder pain. Bad task for me. Just a bad task for me.
I also think like one thing I noticed that successful teams were doing is like there's like they at least like base one side of the cheese base, like in between the 2 boards is like it's like a wedge, and then they would build off of that because it was like a curved surface. So at least there was like some difficult. They were seeing that there was some difficulty of actually building the pyramid. We saw that with Tucker and Eric. his name? Yeah. They were having a lot of trouble building that pyramid.
There's some strategy involved in building a pyramid on that board that some teams immediately figured out, and some teams just had to try a few more times, including Tucker and Eric.
And also a nice big uniform that we will get into becomes the bane of one team's existence later on.
So after all of that, the teams have to bike back to the port of Volendam and then drive to Vanderwilt Gerbera, which is a giant flower greenhouse, to find their next clue, which is our first roadblock of the season, Who's Feeling Fresh as a Daisy, where one teammate has to go into a massive greenhouse comparing one set of flowers to another and essentially basically try to replicate it, with the small problem that colors and petals have very small differences, and those could be the reason why your flowers aren't exactly it.
At first point, you're just like, oh, it's just kind of the colors, and then the little escapes me again, cinnabar flower. It's just that you just the color of both of them were good, but then you see that there's little minute ones have like bigger petals, one have more like numerous petals, or they're multi-layered or something like that. One thing I did notice, and I'm wondering if this was anything like as a visual indicator, they have like a wall of like different pictures of flowers going into the main green room. I'm wondering if like it just kind of listed all of the different flowers that were in there, and you could just visually be like, these are how similar they're going to be. I need to really pay attention to the example given to us. Also, what was up with the sunroof?
That was not explained to us in the beginning, by the way. We had to figure out that happened along with some of the players.
Yeah, no. There's very much a spanner thrown into the works of this about halfway through the challenge that makes it so much more difficult for the other teams that I really do think that the producers severely underestimated how long they thought this leg would take. And when basically they were told, yeah, the roof has to close in order to make sure the flowers don't get damaged, they went, oh, y'all have headlamps, right?
And it makes it like, so, I mean, this is the end of the leg, but I mean, if this was like anywhere else, it made it so like if you get caught with the sunroof closing, anybody who went before is going to be so much further than you. And this was such a long leg of the race. Like, I remember there was a lot of teams that had confessionals, and it was like nighttime. And usually in Amazing Race, that means they were either doing bad or they were the one who went home, as if there was nighttime in their confessional. But there was a lot of them who had that because they
a lot.
Time.
Yeah, no, this was a very, very, very long leg, ending in, once they finally got through that roadblock, a trip to the museum plane where they just needed to check in. And with that is our lovely structure for the leg, being starting line task, route info, roadblock, pit stop. Nice and easy.
Mm-hmm. Real quick, who do you think would do the flower challenge?
The roadblock challenge?
Yes.
You're really going to put me on blast. Well, the joke is, it's not a joke, it's actually a fact. I'm colorblind, so that will not
that kind of makes it easy
so
to
I
determine.
will not do this challenge. And for our lovely viewers that will be watching every single episode of our Amazing Race podcast, just keep in mind of who's doing which roadblock.
So
yeah, we're pretending like Amazing Race is not going to impose that rule of like you have to alternate roadblocks. We're just going to pick who we would wish to do the roadblock, and we're going to keep a tally.
I was going to say it typically is somewhere around 7-7 or 8-8, depending on what the legs entail. So one for Michael off the bat. My brain is not doing the best with things swapped around, but that's how it goes this late at night. So I say we get into the actual meat of this episode, being the actual teams that are on it. So, first, Jonathan, as you weren't here during our tiny little bit of a cast assessment, what teams are rooting for going into this, with all of them being Big Brother, most of them being relatively like past 3 years Big Brother? Like, what are you looking for?
As someone who I've seen the past few seasons of Big Brother, I'm familiar with, I would say, 95% of the Big Brother casted on this season. And especially based on this first episode, I think it's safe to say that Kyland and what's her name?
Taylor Hill.
And Taylor will probably do a fantastic job. And that's who I am rooting for. And I know we'll get through this later, but the first team who got eliminated today, from the get-go, you can already tell they were not going to do well. Unfortunately, I also don't see Angela getting pretty far. But you know what? Please surprise me, Angela. Please surprise me. I would love to see you go far.
I think what you're saying is music to Logan and Lana's ears. I know, at the very least. That was their tops and bottoms.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
And honestly, I'm right there with you. I unfortunately have not been a big fan of Enzo, so seeing him on the cast went, okay, yeah. I mean, I guess we had to, because the other real choice from All Stars 2 and also All Stars 1, Janelle was not offered enough money, so she wasn't interested, and as such, just like All Stars 2, when multiple other people were not available, Enzo was called on because he was second fiddle. So, it very much suits him.
Yeah, I heard, and this is just the rumor mill, Xavier also was contacted, correct? Because all the winners, except for Xavier, I think, of the past few seasons are represented here.
Yeah. All of the post All-Stars 2 winners, excluding Xavier, came back. Xavier was contacted, but simply put, was not offered enough to come back. And he's a lawyer, so that makes sense.
Yeah. He's already making bank. Plus, he won $750,000. So,
yeah. He made $750,000 and then made a deep run on a different show that also paid him a lot and was probably easier. So, he doesn't need to come back.
Well, I guess real quick, because I was not here, who are you rooting for, Jack?
I am also there with Kyland and Taylor. I'm also rooting for Izzy and Paige because I just love the both of them so goddamn much.
And I'll throw Joseph and Adam in there as well, because Joseph is such a lovely person.
But I will say I'm like rooting for basically everyone else on this cast as well. So like literally it was like, oh yeah, no, I'm pretty much good with anyone else except Jack and Enzo. Like I don't care for them, but everyone else, no, I'm pretty good with.
Sure, why? Yeah.
But these teams don't like each other though. Some of them don't like each other.
Oh no, we have some very, very interesting histories. We have a current dating duo in Rubina and Tucker being on separate teams. We have a currently dating team of Big Brother players with Kyland and Taylor. With intentional mess of also casting Joseph, Taylor's ex, on the season. We have multiple rivalries, including Angela and Tucker, who very publicly went at it. We also have Jag and Izzy, who very much did not like each other within the house. We also have some deep alliance cuts with Matt and Kyland working together. Nope, wrong direction. Matt and Taylor working together. We have Hannah and Kyland working together. We essentially have just like the full suite of like 3 years of storylines on this cast, which is honestly kind of impressive.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how much of the relationships in the house are going to dictate how they interact with each other. I know that, sometimes it does dictate how they see each other. I think maybe in a game setting, they kind of bring back those thoughts of like, oh, in a game setting, like Tucker's like, in a game setting, I don't like Angela. Like, we did not get along, even though I used a veto on her. Like, I still have issues with her. But, it'll be interesting to see because not always does that bear out. Sometimes it's like life in between, you start getting close to these people. And so these relationships that kind of intermingle, especially like the Kylan, Taylor, and Joseph triangle. These are relationships that were outside of the house as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what relationships in the house maintain, what relationships outside of the house color their interaction with each other. I totally blanked, so never mind.
Well, that's a good way to end it.
Yeah.
So we do have basically everyone immediately running to the ice rink in order to do human bowling. Well, basically everyone gets in the door perfectly fine, with the footnote of both Jas and Jag and Angela and Lexi missing the clue box that everyone else got to, and then realizing once they're inside, we don't have a clue. We had to go back outside for that. And suddenly they're at the back of the pack while everyone else is already bowling.
And it really, for Jess and Jag, it really kind of made, like, it really pushed it was the difference maker for them, where they ended up in this leg here. And it kind of lit a fire underneath them. So I think maybe it motivated them to go on and win the first leg. So
yeah.
But it is funny them going in with nothing in hand and everybody else has it, and they're just like hanging out with everybody like, oh yeah, here we go. But wait, do you not have it? There was a post. Literally everybody else went to the post. What do you think we were doing with that post while we were all walking in together? It's a funny visual to see them just completely past it, just because everybody's walking in, of course.
Yeah. So we do get some early. We get a very interesting result very fast, where Christine and Rubina, almost in like their first or second attempt, are one pin away.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, they don't quite get it. And our lovely team, who very much is in the lead here and is the favorite to win, Kyland and Taylor secure that first express pass and simply go running. They're like, we're done. Cool. Let's go.
Look, I don't want to say our panel called it in the cast assessment, but we called it.
Yeah.
I think it's funny how, everything that they do, they will earn. I will say, I'll preempt it with that. But there is a little bit of production, kind of like Taylor and Kylan are both very special people to bring back, more so than the other people. And It's just how it is. The CBS is going to see some returnees as more valuable than others. And Taylor and Kyland are kind of the precious cows of sort to make sure that they're around as long as possible. So I don't think that they were thumbing the scale that much in their direction, but it is funny that they're the ones who, when you look at the cast, benefit the most from the cast makeup, are the ones who get the express pass here.
Both express passes.
Yeah, both. And then they get to
Both.
build even more goodwill. They get some friendship bracelets to give out. Are they going to be immune until halfway through? I mean, no, I'm kidding. But it is kind of that. It's giving a lot of that.
I mean, there's a very funny irony to where it's like, yeah, Taylor is CBS's golden girl because she was put through so much shit on Big Brother and then emerged as like a titan and has single-handedly like brought a bunch of interest back into the show. So the fact that Taylor's partner dropped out late and then Kylan was basically their last minute call of like, oh, we can give Taylor a bunch of advantages using this. Let's just do that. Mm-hmm. It's so funny, but it also, I am so here for it. If we're gonna rig, if we're gonna give someone a better chance, let it be Taylor because she deserves it.
Yeah, after what she went through, not soft bullying. That's a Big Brother reference for those who aren't watching the current season. Taylor deserves it after the crap that she put up with in her season.
Yeah. So we do then see just some other teams quickly get through it. Kat and Alex are almost immediately after, followed by Joseph and Adam. All three of them almost immediately run off. And then we begin to see just some other teams naturally get it pretty fast. Tucker and Eric, Christine and Rubina, Jack and Chelsea, Megan and Turner. I'm still not calling him Matt. I know they're both the Turners now, but calling him by his legal name is genuine. It feels like calling Trixie Brian. It's just so wrong.
It doesn't seem right. It does not seem correct. Who are you?
Yeah.
Who are you?
I was like, who's Matt? Oh, Matt. Yeah. Matt. Yeah.
So we do have very much the back half begin to fill out with Natalie and Stephanie just quickly getting it. And then finally, after a while of trying, we see Angela and Lexi get through so they're not penalized for their massive blunder early on. But from there, we have Hannah and Simone. And then we have a very interesting trio as this bottom three. Izzy and Paige, Jack and Enzo, Jas and Jag. Very much two teams who have a problem with each other. Is it one-sided? Is it two-sided? It's probably like more 1.25 sided with Izzy towards Jag, but granted, validly.
Yeah.
And then we have Jack and Enzo who are here.
Yeah. Jack and Enzo were there for the great showdown where Izzy and Paige bring it out and were able to kind of, I guess, in this part, show that, hey, I can keep up with Jag. You know, he was the comp beast in the season, and he was a part of the vote that got her out on her season. Too early, might I add? Too early.
Yes.
But it is interesting to see that she is a little resentful towards Jag. I don't think Jag was necessarily the architect of her demise. Jag really wasn't the architect of many strategic things on this season. He mainly just won challenges, but it's really good that I'm happy for Izzy that, you know, they did well this leg, and they're showing that they can keep up with Jess and Jag, who, I mean, as our panel saw and said in the assessment, they're like next to Kyland and Taylor in terms of like ability to take this all the way.
Yeah.
Also, can I add They called themselves the Turbinators.
Oh my god!
I laughed so hard.
Yes.
As much as we riv on Jag and his legacy on Big Brother, he is a really funny guy. He is a really good guy, and he has a good sense of humor. I've never had anything bad to say about Jag as a person. My issues just came really honestly structurally. So
yeah,
I think he's a great guy. So.
I mean, even Izzy and Paige call it out in the episode of Jag won because production threw him a twist. Let's not even lie. I was part of a unanimous vote to vote him out, and then he won, and then he was saved via a twist he didn't even win, and then he eventually won the season.
He wasn't even aware of it when it got activated. But yeah.
But yes, we do see Jas and Jag and Izzy and Paige both get out unscathed, meaning that Jack and Enzo take the hazard, and we'll find out what that means a little later on. So from there, all of the teams slowly begin to head to Roadstein in order to just start the race, introduce themselves to each other, and of course where Phil just kind of drops the casual bomb of, hey, so Kylan Taylor, you didn't just win one express pass, you actually won one for yourself and one to give to a friend, which immediately I hear, okay, I'm not shocked. This is so obvious, but sure.
Mm-hmm. It's friendship bracelets.
It's friendship bracelets. Why would we have Phil stop the leg right now? That doesn't make any sense unless there's something else to tell the players.
Do you think this would have happened if Colin Taylor did not get first place on that leg?
Yes. I don't think they had two sets of clues in the event that they wouldn't have just randomly stopped the race. I think this would have been a social twist for anyone to be like, hey, you won a little pregame task. Here's an express pass for you, an express pass to make allies. If someone like Natalie and Stephanie or Jack and Enzo or Kat and Alex win this, I feel like it's much more of an obvious bridge to be like, hey, I got you. Make me one of your cast. Mm-hmm. But, of course, it goes to Kylan and Taylor, who are the most connected on this cast, potentially. And it just goes oh, well, let's see what they do with it.
I mean, you knew production was over the moon, though. They're like, oh, yes, we're very happy that this is the outcome. And you have to forgive us because, we come to the drag race world where it is rigor mortis, and it is so blatant. We're kind of dealing with that on the Drag Race UK, which you should check out on the Cup of Reality, where we just talked about the first episode of UK Drag Race, where there might have been some of that.
It might have, absolutely was,
It's a different beast.
Yeah. But we do get the decision from Kylan and Taylor, who basically talk and go, we can give this to Joseph or Chada, or we could make a new connection. And as such, they give it to Jas and Jag. What?
Was their reasoning because they were Jag was also a winner, right?
I think
yes,
that, but it was also neither of them had any sort of connection with, because they're 23. Kylan and Taylor are 23 and 24. Jag is 25. So they wanted to pick somebody who is within their realm, but also that they could make a connection
to build a new relationship.
I'm surprised that they didn't pick somebody like Rubina and her sister, or Tucker and Eric, because I felt like if you're getting one, you might be getting both of them. So
I was going to say maybe pick Chelsea for the exact same reason. Chelsea, yeah, maybe like Jag isn't close with Izzy. Chelsea is at least somewhat close with Angela and somewhat close with Rabina and Tucker. And it uses that same winner logic. Giving it to them probably can save that team from like a bad leg because, unfortunately, the oldest guy on the cast, Jack, is on that team. So it's like, if a team is going to need it, it might be them. So give them that. They're going to use it. They're going to save you at some point or be in your debt. But maybe it was seeing that Jag and Jas were going to be such a threat from the early days.
Good.
I was going to say, we mentioned this earlier while we were watching. This season is definitely a lot more interesting because it's Big Brother players instead of just random people who don't know each other. So there are those pre-built relationships, and they are gamers already with that gamer mindset, knowing that they're just wired to do the whole social strategy thing, and all that makes it more exciting than, again, just people or people racing not knowing each other.
Mm-hmm. I also think that the move, it definitely kind of, I wouldn't say stinks. It kind of rings like Big Brother. It's like you want to make friends with people that have competition ability. That's a Big Brother like trope up and down. It's like they're going to win HOH or they're going to win veto in Big Brother, and they're going to keep me safe. It might be the same case here in Amazing Race. I wouldn't be surprised if there might be some, you scratch my back, I scratch yours somewhere down the line. It'll be interesting if Jas and Jag feel indebted to them at all. They might not, honestly, because I feel like how they did in the leg, they are like, we are going to do fine no matter what. But they might. It remains to be seen. I think I kind of agree with you, Jack, when you're saying, like, give it to somebody who, like, Chelsea and her dad, who may have an issue somewhere down the line just because of he is the oldest character and he's going up against these young, fit. A lot of these people have been on the challenge, so they're very like physically capable. Like helping them out in a tough bind, maybe that could help them out a bit more. It was a little. It did kind of ring like Big Brother to me, though. It's like give it to a winner, so we're both winners, but also give it to someone who we think is also going to do very well in this race. Because that's very Big Brother mindset. That's a very Big Brother mindset.
Yeah. So we do, after that, everyone gets released. Everyone goes to the Port de Volendam. Okay, well, that's not true. Almost everyone goes to the Port de Volendam because two teams in particular cannot figure out essentially how to navigate without Google Maps or like any sort of Uber, any sort of navigation technology.
Some of them, I heard one of them, they were going up to like locals and being like, can I use your phone to navigate? Is that even allowed? Is that
it is?
It is.
Yes. Basically, as long as it's not your phone, and obviously you can't take the phone, so you can get the set of directions. You just have to navigate yourself, and that proved to be a bit of a struggle for Jack and Enzo and Turner and Megan.
Yeah, it is a weird abstract skill to read maps and kind of apply it to where you are. But if you're going on Amazing Race, you really need to practice like reading a map. Maybe just practice in your own like local area city. Be like, I need to get here, and don't even open up your phone. Just be like, I have to get there from a road map in front of me. Again, though, I'm realizing that a lot of these people aren't really maybe not that interested in like winning Amazing Race. Just want to travel a little bit, get their stipend for production,
get the experience,
get the experience. It's a fun experience in and of itself. Any newbie season though, like if you're just coming on because you love Amazing Race, definitely practice reading maps. So
Yeah. I mean, between the two of you, who's going to be doing the navigating? Who's going to be doing the driving?
Wait. Who do you think, Jack? Who do you think?
Oh, God. Okay.
Who do you think is reading the map and getting us where we need to be, and who is just moving around, moving his hands left and right?
I don't think the driving is that simple on the Amazing Race. It's very much calling out stuff of like, oh no, we need to be here in this place. Let me make sure we're not breaking any traffic laws to do it. I'm not a good driver. I'm from Jersey and gay, so that's like 2 strikes against me already. So it's just not going to work. Okay. I feel like there absolutely is a right and wrong answer, and anytime I have to guess things, I am normally wrong, which means I'm going to swap what I initially said gut-wise. Jonathan, you're navigating. Michael, you're driving. God damn it.
I'm the maps guy. I'm usually, whenever we're out and about, I'm like, even if like we're on foot walking somewhere, I'm like, it's this, that. I've always had really good spatial awareness in regards to like maps. I'm like, I can find a landmark pretty quickly and know which way we're.
Well, I'm a very good driver. You may be at the edge of your seats, and your hair may have been messed up from point A to point B, and you may have been screaming the entire time for your life. But I will get us there safely and unscathed.
You know, I'm the safer driver, but I have more tickets than this guy. That is just how life works out sometimes. I don't know how, but yeah, you can drive, whatever. He gets away with a lot more than I do. So
it's because when you're thinking about getting the tickets, that in particular is when like someone pulls up and is like, you were speeding 10 over. When someone else is going 30 miles over next to you, and it's just like,
it's the slowest gazelle gets eaten by the lion. So
there we go. Yeah.
But yeah, you're the resident like Amazing Race expert on this panel here tonight. So are there any like instances in the past of like driving traffic laws that have come into play?
I am very confident that we have seen at least someone in the past drive on the wrong side of the road.
Okay,
or something similar. Like we've seen people break traffic laws before. I'm relatively confident. Could I name them? No.
Mm-hmm.
But
there have been rear ends. I think it was just the last season, maybe, or the season before that. Rear-ending accidents. But yeah, no, it does happen. I don't recall anyone ever being pulled over, though. I don't recall that, but I'm sure it may have happened.
Yeah, there's a clip relatively early on of like someone from, I want to say Colin and Christy from season 5, like having a massive issue with a police officer, but it wasn't driving. I think it was some sort of like other issue with some payment or something.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll go track that clip down.
But we do have Tucker and Eric managing to get to the port first, quickly followed behind by Jas and Jag. Both of them get on a bike and tandem bike over to the Edam Cheese Market. But by the time they both get there, they're basically neck and neck. So they're just hanging out together and are going to enjoy the rest of the leg together. So that's kind of our front group. And yeah, when you said earlier, this leg very quickly divides into groups. Yeah.
I think it's the pre-sunroof open and the post-sunroof open group is what we eventually see. I think what's really interesting, and keep an eye out for this, Jas and Jag and Tucker and Eric, they got very, like, they started to kind of work together, and we may see that in a future leg. Because they were very much like, let's help each other. Jas and Jag also had the mindset, I think they helped Angela, I think it was, and Lexi, telling them the direction that they should run in. And I like this mindset when you're in first place, when you know you're in first place, and I know this is farther along down, when you know you're in first place, though, it doesn't hurt you to help someone who is way, 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 way below. If they're not going to, don't help the person right behind you, but help a person who's like, like 5, 6, 7 spots below you. It can only help you. It can only help you.
I was going to say, yeah, Jas and Jag definitely provided that kind of like, hey, we're here to help energy, as long as it wasn't like the people right behind them. When we see them lapping people, they're like, yeah, no, it's in that direction. Keep going that way. We absolutely see that with Turner and Megan, where they are literally done with the next task entirely, and they finally get there and they're like, hey guys, bicycles are down there. No, turn, bicycles are there. You guys were running off in a different wrong direction. Like, some of these teams are just horrendous at navigation.
Yeah, we'll have to see if Turner and Megan have a better lap this next one. Sometimes, hey, if I remember, I think Derek and Claire also had a really rough first half of their winning race. So, any team can turn it on.
It's the first leg.
Yeah.
Once now that the first leg is over, they're warmed up, they can focus and get their head in the game. But yeah, no, I can only imagine your first leg for an adventure like this. Maybe it's a lot all at once.
Yeah. So, we do just generally see teams kind of like start to communicate just in general with how they're going to start communicating on the season. Like Angela constantly yelling at Lexi.
How could I guess this is how Angela is with her children? She's like, I have air tag on everything. I call her if she hasn't gotten home and it's like 10 p.m. and I'm like, 10 p.m. She lives in another city. Like, let her have like a nightlife and some fun. She lives in Vegas too. Let her have some fun out on one night.
Although it seems like Lexi actually likes that, or at least doesn't care, because they're close.
Yeah. They did say that they're friends and everything, but the way that she said, she's like, oh no, like my mom would have like come running over to Vegas, and Angela's like, I totally would have, and I'm like, I 100% believe she would get in the car and drive all the way. I mean, it's only from Utah, so it's not so far.
Yeah,
but
it's not that bad, but still, that's a lot.
I believe she would do that. That'd be Angela's amazing race to Vegas to make sure her daughter's okay. That is sweet, though. A little hovery, because she is a grown woman. But I mean, it's sweet. It's a fun dynamic.
Yeah. And I mean, we did think that like certain teams would like have some trouble communicating, but I mean, the only other team we really have trouble communicating is Jack and Enzo, who like very much hate each other. It's genuinely like bad to where it's like, hey, Enzo is like driving the bike while Jack, due to their hazard, is literally stuck in a clog in the front. I don't think it has pedals, so basically Enzo is having to do all the work. Enzo crashes that bike multiple times with Jack just in it and unable to do anything. He just has to fall over and be like, dude, what the hell? Enzo's like, get out. We're cheese rolling. Like,
it was very much, they didn't really encourage each other a lot. It was very much I think that's just their dynamic, is that they kind of riff on each other a lot. They're just like, come on, what are you doing? Like, it's tough love that definitely came through both of them. But when you're in this high pressure, stressful situation, it really got the better of them by the end of their race.
Yeah, it was. They were not long for this kind of game. Mm-hmm. It was just not going to work.
Yeah, I was thinking I usually don't root a lot of times for someone to go out, but like just how dysfunctional they were, I'm like, let's just Turner and Megan had a bad leg, so give them another shot. And let's just Jack and Enzo. They are kind of odd ducks anyway on this cast. So
since the beginning of the episode, they just did nothing right, and it was just hard to watch. It was exhausting to watch their scenes together.
I have to also say, like, when I see these seasons, it's always nice to see like locals like positively interact with these American contestants and everything. I think Enzo and I don't know Jack that much, but Enzo at least can be a little boisterous and loud and be that sort of stereotypical American tourist elsewhere. And so I'm just kind of like, I'm kind of glad he's not on the race anymore to kind of maybe perpetuate that kind of stereotype, because we need to fight back against the stereotype, y'all. Let's not be the loud Americans everywhere we go.
So basically we have all of the teams generally doing about the same time in terms of the cheese task. Well, except for one team, which seems to like emerge out of almost nowhere. We see Izzy and Paige go from being like the last team to get to the bikes to the fourth team done with the cheese. The only people beating them being Jas and Jag, Turner and Eric, and I want to say it was Christine and Rubina or Kylan and Taylor, but I can't remember exactly who.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was crazy. Impressive too. Like, they really performed really well. I'm trying to think where and how did they kind of lap people on this task. It makes me think there was a lot more crashes of the cheese pyramids than we saw, and the producers may have looked at them like, this is not compelling content. We already have a chock full episode. It's an hour and a half of a lot of other stuff anyway. It's interesting to see that, though. It is one of those situations where, like, I can't pinpoint why necessarily that happened. Maybe they just got it done on their first try. It was just boom, 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 and then they lifted it and went, and then that was it.
I was going to say, we also saw Jack and Enzo with, like, multiple other teams at one point getting the cheese, and then suddenly they're right back in the back of the pack again. And I don't know if that was just, like, two shots being interspersed that weren't timeline-wise, but the timeline of this leg very much seems to be obscured. And we'll talk about it near the end, but I think this leg potentially went very awry very fast.
Yeah, we'll talk about it in a little bit, but it's something we also notice. I always am first to note out. I'm like, well, they want to make sure this is really close and that the team had just left, but you can kind of tell this is maybe 15, 20 minutes later after the other team had left. We'll get into it.
So we do have Jas and Jag and Tucker and Eric both completing the task first, heading all the way back and then driving over to our lovely flower greenhouse and ripping open the detour. Not the detour, the roadblock, which once again was simply just finding a bunch of flowers, but they were very, very finicky on details. We see Jas get in first and essentially get through almost like a full pass of flowers trying to verify things before Eric from Tucker and Eric can get in. And then they both kind of work together in order to solve this problem.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting, especially because, there's a prize usually for first place on each leg. Mm-hmm. So when you know that you're fighting for first right now, there also might be other advantages too. You just saw an advantage be placed in earlier. And you have to imagine with there being Big Brother players, they're going to add more elements to the game. But I think also maybe they see that each other are strong teams that are going to be around a while. And they're like, hey, wink, wink, nod, nod. don't U-turn me later on in this game. So I definitely think that, I mean, we said in the assessment, like, they were going to play Big Brother regardless if this was Big Brother or not. That's just how a lot of their minds are wired. And they're there to make relationships with the other teams, much more so than we have, I think, ever seen on any other season.
Again, that's why this season is so interesting, because everybody's wired to play a social strategy game in addition to this regular race that we're so used to with non-Big Brother or non-gamers, at least. It adds another element to this season, and that makes it so much more exciting to watch.
And I'm hoping that we see in the edit, because I think both you and I, Jack, like, we have not looked at any of the Twitter stuff, but it looks like the relationships actually do matter quite a bit this season. I'm not spoiled or anything on anything that happens, but apparently there was a very strong reaction from a lot of the castmates about the what went on this season after they came back from filming. So hopefully we will see that on the episodes as well. It looks like it's kind of going that way because relationships were a huge storyline of this episode.
Yeah, we do know that there's one major change of, like, basically an entire relationship falling apart pre to post this season. So that is a pretty massive thing. So something happened on this race. And then, I mean, there are a bunch of rivalries. So Lord have mercy, there's going to be so much drama between castmates this season. And yeah, you've already basically said it, of like, yeah, these people are going to game hard, especially knowing there's a bunch of different twists and turns on these legs.
And there's $1 million on the line, more than what any of them played for on Big Brother. So
yeah. So we do get a little bit of drama from Kat realizing, oh, I still have a bandana on, about halfway through their bike. Honestly, probably like 3/4 of the way their bike back, which is very interesting because Kat's like, no, we have to go return this. And Alex is like, we'll figure it out. Just stay calm. And Kat is breaking down in their car over this. Like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so dumb. And now we see the whiner archetype from one of the teams form.
Well, we saw the cat that we saw in the house a lot of the time. She was either bubbly herself or she was crying about something going on in the house. I mean, there was a lot to cry about in the Big Brother 21 house. That be besides the point. I did want to ask you, is there like precedent of like something like this, like uniform taking, like not turning all of it back, incurring a penalty or something somewhere else?
There definitely has been in the past. I know the reverse of this has happened where a team has not been in full uniform based on something and has gotten a penalty. Do I think that if they hadn't mentioned it, they would have gotten a penalty? If anything, maybe 30 minutes. Like, it's going to be really small if it's something like that, to where it's like, oh, well, I guess we have this extra bandana on. But honestly, it probably wasn't that much of a big deal. And Kat just was like already stressed out and thought she was in a losing spot. So it just kind of exploded.
I will say I'm glad we saw this kind of Kat because it did make for great TV. I was very entertained with all her scenes about this bandana that she forgot to give back.
I mean, I can sympathize with her because when you're watching Amazing Race, every episode there's that thing that happens to the losing team where it's like, this is why they lost. And so probably in Kat's mind, she's like, this is why we lose. It's going to be my fault that we lose. So I sympathize. I can see where she's coming from, but they were pretty far ahead. they probably were fine even going back. They probably were fine going forward with the bandana anyway. So
Especially because then they got in their car and drove to the location anyway. So like that massive time.
Taking 30 minutes.
if they biked, it probably took no more than like 5-10 minutes to get there in their car.
Yeah.
But again, it all made for great TV. So I'm glad what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, we very much see the ramifications of this payoff later in like one of the most like darkly funny scenes potentially ever. But we do see some other teams slowly begin to make their way into the greenhouse. We do see Jas and Eric basically solve it. Before almost any other team got there. I think maybe Izzy and Paige and Christine and Rubina show up, but they're done by the point that's happened. So they're off to the pit stop, and now we have essentially the second group in this greenhouse with Christine being a florist and just kind of going like, oh, I'm in heaven.
Yeah, it was hilarious watching her walk in. It was like the gates of heaven had like opened up to her.
It was so adorable, honestly.
Was grinning ear to ear. It was so
Sparkled
cute.
in her eyes.
Yes. She just was genuinely in love with that place, and I'm 99% certain, like, after that episode, she was like, okay, so how much would it take to, like, emigrate to the Netherlands and just work here?
Yeah, this was like, she's like, this is where I need to be. This is built for me. She's built for this. So
we do see just some other teams begin to pile in. We do see essentially a small foot race for first place between Jas and Jag and Tucker and Eric, between everyone else doing this kind of flower challenge. And literally by probably 15-30 seconds, because their cars were literally right behind each other, we do in fact see Jag and Jas win the first leg, and they each receive 2.5K apiece.
Wow. I mean, that's an impressive for them to go from one of the last teams in the pre-leg leg to first place. I mean, I think it shows the strength of Jag and Jas as a team. I think they're one to really look at going forward. The Turbinators are coming to turbinate the entire European continent.
They were a very good team. They communicated well, but in addition to that, they knew how to work with other teams as well. So I'm not surprised at all that they made first place, and I'm not going to be surprised if they continue to stay on top for at least the next few episodes.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, without some massive shakeup, I genuinely can't see either Jas and Jag or Tucker and Eric falling out of, honestly, the bottom half here. They both just seem like incredibly solid teams with like a lot to show, and especially if they're going to join up and like be this kind of like power duo of duos, I'm kind of ready to see that.
I also think, all respect to everybody, but like there's a good, I mean, it's every season. There's a good 3 or 4 teams that you can kind of see like they're definitely up for being last place in each leg. It's just how it goes with these seasons, because there's just some teams who have it and some teams who are struggling on the legs.
If you make silly mistakes, if you're not communicating well with your teammates, those are easy telltale signs that you're just not going to make it far.
Yeah. But back at the greenhouse, both Izzy and Christine are working on this lovely little flower field, trying to find their stuff. and suddenly it gets a little darker. And then a lot darker. And then suddenly in the room, it's essentially pitch black. And they're like, what the fuck? What? Where did the light? Is it no, those shades are shut. Oh, no.
Do you think this was like known by production? Or do you think this was just, oh, they have to do whatever to keep these, flowers healthy.
It's
their business. I'm curious. What do you think about that?
I'm going to take a gut shot and say that they probably knew this was going to happen at some point. Maybe they thought more teams would be to the greenhouse by the point that this occurred versus like only 2 teams being done with the task and just barely. I think they overestimated it, but like they had to have known. There was no way they were going to disrupt the cycle.
Mm-hmm. It looks like, just from a design standpoint, the flower challenge was meant to be the big one, the hard one, the one that kind of tripped up teams. I think it seemed like they were shocked with how long it took teams to get through this cheese pyramid task. Because you made a good point that like Izzy and Paige lapped up a lot of teams. So there must have been a lot of teams that struggled getting onto their container and getting it over there, because they definitely wanted the most amount of people, if it was planned, to be in the greenhouse when those sunroofs closed.
Well, the best part is those sunroofs closed and it became pitch dark as soon as our Miss Little Florist walks in the door with those sparkling eyes. Immediately, those shades just shut as they started plucking the flowers. It just so happened to our florist.
It was a rough go around. I mean, we begin to see, honestly, most of the other teams pile in. Basically, everyone, Natalie and Stephanie, Jack, Chelsea, Hannah, Simone, Joseph and Adam, Kylan and Taylor, Angel and Lexi, all kind of pile in. And then, like, as those earlier teams kind of straggle out, the other teams kind of come in. And eventually we're almost left with, like, everyone at the greenhouse kind of working and almost conveyor belt, like, oh, this person is done. This person comes in. This person is done with a leg. This person comes in. This person finishes. This person's done with a leg. And honestly, there isn't a lot to talk about other than like everyone just kind of going, yeah, no, this is a difficult challenge because it's very, very tight. I mean, did y'all have anything of real interest during this kind of like greenhouse challenge?
There was a funny comment. I think it was Christine who said, like, this is fun. And then it cuts to Joseph going, this is hell. I thought that was a really funny moment.
It was a pretty quick, once this conveyor belt aspect started happening, it was pretty quick. They were just in and out, cutting from one team to the next, coming in and leaving.
And this is kind of how it goes in the first few episodes anyway. When it's kind of the interim middle teams, like we want to know who's in the front and who's doing. We want to know who's doing well, like maybe behind first, second place, kind of in that. But then once you get to like, I don't know, 5th, 6th, all the way down to like 10th, in these first few legs, we don't really need to know exactly like all the inner details, the highlights if there's some funny moments. But what really people care about is like what's in the front and then what's going on at the end, at the tail end of the race.
Yeah. So speaking of, we have Izzy and Paige in 3rd place for this leg, followed by Christine and Rabina in 4th, Natalie and Stephanie in 5th, Jack and Chelsea in 6th, Hannah and Simone in 7th, Joseph and Adam in 8th, and Kylan and Taylor in 9th. All of them kind of get through this like kind of drama-free, a little bit of like helping each other, like Joseph and Taylor just kind of like work together a little bit. Chelsea kind of draws on some support. I want to say from Taylor and Stephanie at various points. Simone looks for help. But we can also see during all of this that, like, very, very slowly, it's going from, like, day to, like, night. By the time that Hannah and Simone, Joseph Adam, Kylan Taylor checking in, it's already, like, night out. And everyone else is like, oh, God damn it.
Yeah, that rarely happens where we have so many teams coming in when it's nighttime. Usually in Amazing Race, if it's nighttime, it's because you are the last team and you got severely stuck somewhere along the leg. But it was half the teams in this leg. So I think production was a little thrown off by how long things took. Hopefully this is a one-time fluke and not just a continual issue, or maybe overestimation of our contestants, but we'll see.
We do even see the guy working at the flower greenhouse literally get a beach chair out just to sit down, because he's probably been on his feet like for like 10, 11, 12 hours being like, y'all haven't wrapped yet? The hell?
Yeah. It was funny seeing some of the other workers, and I'm sure like you'll have more to say about it, but Kat was when Kat gets there, if you want to keep that up, when Kat gets there, if you look, there's some like other people in the greenhouse that are like in another room, and there's like one worker just kind of like looking at her while she's like having like a full-blown meltdown in the place. It was such a funny shot. It was just some random person working at the greenhouse in another room, just like in the window, just kind of watching Kat just bawl her eyes out. It was darkly funny, as you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, we see multiple shots of Kat just being done. Like, Alex is like, hey, who wants to do this roadblock? And Kat's like, I'll do it. It's okay. I'll do it. And like halfway through, after like 2 or 3 checks, we just see her walking down between the rows and just full on sobbing. And it's so horribly funny. I'm just like, girl, you are in a magical place. Like, you might as well be at Disney World just full on throwing a tantrum right now. It's bad.
I mean, it is funny. It reminds me, I watched the live feeds on her season. It reminds me a lot of like Kat's behavior in the house whenever she would cry. She's very active when she cries. Like she walks around. It's funny because it kind of builds up and then it's kind of like this, like, she like moves around and she loves it's funny. I feel bad for her because maybe she felt like she ruined their leg, but I mean, it didn't seem like they were in any danger, honestly, from being the last team. I think maybe it might have been more of like Kat was like, I'm the reason we're so far down in the leg in the first place, which is why she wanted to do the task mid-balling.
Yeah, I mean, we do finally get Jack and Enzo. They're parking their bike when it is dark out. Like, that is how long this has taken. That's how long they've screwed up for. And they finally get to the greenhouse as Angela and Lexi in 10th place are leaving to go check in. And Alex and Megan are just like on the sides going, y'all are still here? I thought like they thought they were past at this point. Like they just didn't see them, but no. Jack and Enzo walk in, they're like, what the fuck? Y'all are behind us?
I would have been scared walking in and being like, oh, there's this many teams still here. Like what like, I mean, it gives you hope, but it also makes you be like, what do we have to do that you're still here? So
Kat finally gets it through, and they go check in 11th place, meaning Matt and I want to say, yeah, it was Matt and Jack are in the greenhouse going, okay, the first person to get this will essentially keep racing, and the other team will go home. And we've had two very different attitudes throughout this entire leg with them. Megan and Matt have been like, we're so happy we're here together. We've really enjoyed this. If this is it, this is it. And that kind of sucks. But like, we've still had fun. And Jack and Enzo genuinely hate each other. They hate the production team. They hate the challenges. Like, they are
They're over it. Miserable over it. Whereas Megan and Turner, like you said, at least are spending time together. I think they mentioned that this was kind of like their honeymoon from recently getting married. So they were having a blast regardless. They were going to make sure it was a good time and positive about it. But yes, Enzo and his brother, complete opposite. Just kind of want to get through it. Let's just get this done. Don't talk to me kind of thing.
I will say, Turner looked so tired. Or Turner is a very low-key individual. He's a very chill guy. He looked tired. You could see the exhaustion on his face. I felt for these people because, I mean, think of how long they had been continually racing. They'd probably start like crack of dawn, like 8 a.m. right as the sun's up, and they have decent lighting to start the race.
I was going to say, you can see it in Turner's, I think, taxi, as Turner and Megan are being dropped off. There's a moment you can see they're filming him professional, and like it swoops by the dashboard. I paused it. I'm pretty sure it read 12:42 a.m.
Oh my
gosh.
Like, it was late. I want to say that Turner said online that this task alone for them was about 5.5 to 6 hours.
No
like
way.
It was bad.
That's crazy.
And I'm pretty sure that, I mean, we see Turner submit it and they're basically told yes. And then Jack submits it and is also told yes. I would bet money that, like, at a certain point, the production team was like, okay, the team can have this many errors and you're allowed to pass them, because if we don't do that, you will be here until 3 a.m. and you've already done enough.
This was a bit of the editing magic that I mentioned earlier. They always do this. They want to make it like it's a buzzer beater, but I think that Turner and Megan were long gone for maybe at least like 20-30 minutes before Jack and Enzo finished their portion, because at that point they're kind of like, the race is done. Let's just let everybody go home. This is over with. Yeah, I kind of, it was funny because it made it seem like they had these two shots. You could see like Turner and Megan like walking out while like I think it was it Enzo or Jack who was doing it? Jack was doing the task, and he was coming up to like do it, and then they switch the camera. And then he gives Jack the thing, but you could see there's no Turner or Megan behind him. Like, they are gone. And you can just tell, like, it probably nobody else in the building is there. There's probably like skeleton crew left at that point. And so I'm like, oh, this is definitely, they might try to edit a buzzer beater sense because they do it all the time. But this was definitely one of those cases where it was not close. Jack and Enzo were solidly last place.
Yeah, I think you can see Jack walking up like right after Tucker submitting the final box. My guess is that he probably submitted the wrong thing and then had to go one more time.
That's what we were thinking, is that I was like, I bet you this is not, they're making it seem like he's right behind him, sending in the correct box. I'm like, he got it wrong and he had to go back in and try again. And they probably passed him after that. But that was still probably 10, 15 minutes at least.
Wouldn't matter at that point because, yes, they were already last anyway.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And at that point, it is basically confirmed that, like, hey, Megan Turner, you've had a great time, and you're going to continue to have that time. You're still going. You're in 12th. And they're just kind of like, can we go to bed? Like, we're done. We just want to go to bed and, like, wake up tomorrow morning. I know we're going to be, like, 12 hours behind the other team. It's fine.
I feel like a lot of respect for the ambassador who was at the pit stop with Phil, because this is Phil's job, but this is probably just, I don't know, maybe some volunteer, maybe, there's always like somebody who's just, yeah, I'm sure they're paid, but like not
overtime.
Enough. So
double overtime, something like the day rate was not enough. Girl, get your coin.
Her Dutch outfit. So
I didn't notice, but do y'all think it? But is it the same person?
I think it is throughout. I know in some cases they do have like multiple people.
Yeah,
sometimes they're gone.
Yeah,
sometimes they're just
gone.
But yeah, no, I do think it was the same person throughout the entire thing.
Respectable.
That does, however, go ahead. You're good. Sorry.
Go ahead.
So that does, in fact, leave us with our last place team. They even know it at that point. Jack and Enzo completely fumbled this leg. Even as Megan and Turner said, like, hey, I think that if they hadn't gone the hazard, it might have been up. No. Politely, the hazard stopped them for like 5-10 minutes. And then unless you really think that like two people biking in the wrong direction would get them faster, maybe it's a little closer, but I think Jack and Enzo were locked for last almost immediately.
I don't think the issue was the hazard. It was just how they interacted as a team. They were very contentious with each other in the entire way. And successful teams on Amazing Race are ones that even through, they might fight, but if they communicate well, they can get through that. And they have to be a well-oiled machine to do well in the Amazing Race. And they just, every bit of the way, hit a snag.
Blamed each other also. Yeah.
Ultimately, not good jersey representation. I do care about that a lot, but yeah, it was not a good leg. Not good Jack representation as well. Like, god damn, this entire first episode hated me, my identity specifically. But that is the end of the first episode of Amazing Race, European Adventure, Big Brother Spectacular, not extra subtitle.
White Locust World Tour.
White Locust World Tour. There we go.
Yeah.
But what did y'all think overall?
It's a lot of fun. I think the social dynamics are going to be really interesting to see how they pan out. But I always love Amazing Race. Amazing Race is feel-good TV, honestly. It's like, I put it up there with like, Great British Baking Show. Like, it's not too nasty. It's not nasty. It's not like negative. Even when there's like some sad feelings, it's always in a positive light. And that's one thing I love about Amazing Race.
I feel two ways for this season. Michael mentioned earlier, and I mentioned earlier as well, it is the social dynamics and the cast previously knowing each other that adds a new layer to this season, and that is exciting to see. On the flip side, I'm a little disappointed that we're only going to be in Europe this season, apparently, and not seeing any other continents. But who knows? Maybe the social dynamics between each team makes up for not seeing more countries that I was used to seeing in previous seasons.
I'm right there with you. Realistically, I understand why it was probably just like having to pay more to get this cast together in the first place. So other parts were unfortunately going to take a small hit. But I am very, very interested to see teams deal with trains because if you've seen Jet Lag or any other similar show, you know how unreliable train systems can be. And I'm ready for teams to crash out over that because, Lord have mercy, trains get canceled all the goddamn time in Europe.
It looks like that's what's going on for the next episode's preview.
I was going to say there's definitely going to be some very interesting connections that teams need to make once they finally go from the Netherlands to the Czech Republic. So,
well, no connections because they get canceled.
No connections, apparently.
Exactly.
Connections
and then backup connections, and then backup connections to those backup connections.
But yes, overall, we're excited for the rest of the season, and we're excited to watch it with you.
Yeah, Team Camo's ready to race.
And I cannot wait to see Team Camo on the rest of this season because God, do I need that sort of like, just seeing what other teams would do, that other kind of like, kooky fun stuff. But with that, in case you can't tell by my verbiage, aka I don't know what I'm saying anymore. It's so late at night that I'm kind of losing it. We are good to wrap up here, go to our separate hotels, and get some night's rest before our next leg of this podcast. So thank you all for hanging out with us for so long. If you stuck around to this long, I think that subscribe button below might be your best friend, as well as the like button if you haven't already hit it. If you're interested in amazing race content, wrapping up Big Brother, going into Big Brother UK, any sort of Survivor US, Guts and Glory, a brand new show that's coming out, and a bunch of other reality TV that is coming down the pipeline, you can always follow us here or follow us at the audio podcast links in the description below in that lovely link tree. In that link tree, you'll also find links to our drag, WWE, and ESC channels. If you're interested in any of that, please go ahead and give a follow below. And as always, don't forget your cup mug at lonagcreations.etsy.com. That link as well is in the description below. But with that said, we are going to get out of here for the night. Thank you so much for deciding to travel around the world with the cup. And hopefully we'll see you soon on the next leg. Cheers.
Cheers.